I am the Institute for Human Caring Senior Program Manager, Bentley Fox, and I've been working with Jenn on our Patient and Family Advisory Council now for about 2 years almost. Jenn, can you tell me a little bit about who you are and kind of what brought you to the PFAC?
Well, Bentley Fox, yes, I can. My name's Jenn Burleton, and I'm a woman of transgender experience. I'm also intersectionally lesbian identified, sort of as a consequence of that, but also I'd like to think just because of my passion for humanism and the well-being of my fellow human beings. I have been working for the last 20 years in expanding professional development, education and understanding, and advocacy and support for gender expansive, trans, non-binary, queer, two-spirit, plus children, youth, and the families that love them.
So how did you get involved with us at Providence for the PFAC?
At some point, I saw a call for, hey, we're starting this PFAC advisory group, and if you're interested in participating, let us know. And I let somebody know, and next thing I know, it's 2 years later, and we're doing this interview.
I'd love to hear a little bit about, what the experience was like for you working on the Patient and Family Advisory Council.
I recently viewed this amazing documentary called The El Dorado about the atmosphere in post-World War I Weimar Republic, Germany, prior to the rise of Nazism and the freedom for gender diversity. And there was one comment in there that really struck me, and I think it sort of applies to all of these processes. And it was that for those that are sort of stuck in a status quo or maybe even comfortable with the status quo, forward progress on gender diversity is happening much, much too fast. And for those that are a part of those communities and advocating for those communities, forward progress is much, much too slow. So I'm part of that community, but I'm also engaged, as you are, with making change happen at institutional levels. I would say most of our time was spent tweaking the same page that we were all on, right? So I think we all came with the same intentions and the same goals, but depending on our different roles and sort of our different immersion in different aspects of the institutional challenges, we spent a fair amount of time collaborating and conversing with each other to clarify language to get to where we are, which is a great place.
A lot of people reflected, having come from totally different places or different experiences, but all of us having a very common goal, improving the healthcare for trans and gender diverse patients at Providence, and really how much focus on our particular project over the 2 years was about making sure that we were doing that in a way that was representative of all of those experiences. Sometimes I think was challenging because we're working in such a large system of trying to get things to be really good, but also sometimes good enough. Did you run into any of those experiences?
I kept trying to bring the conversation back around to being inclusive of how we're meeting the needs and how Providence is going to meet the needs of gender expansive, trans, non-binary adolescents and teens with regard to gender affirming healthcare, and to make sure that we didn't get too lost in the weeds and the historical focus on meeting the needs of trans adults, which is where the historical healthcare focus has been. And it's a much easier thing to focus on and to create guidelines and processes and policies for, because adults can, make their own medical decisions. In the Providence system, which crosses many different states, the age at which youth are able to make their own medical decisions can vary from state to state. So I think the main struggle I experienced was still feeling like it was important for everyone to understand that if we're not meeting the gender affirming care needs of trans and otherwise gender expansive adolescents and teens, then what we're really all we're doing is continuing to propagate adult healthcare system that is at best looking to mitigate damage that was done that could have been preventable. And so I think my challenge was just always keeping the kids at the center of this conversation, particularly in a climate where this type of care is considered not only controversial, but in some places illegal, and within the construct of a Catholic religious hospital system. So those were some of the challenges, and they weren't daunting. They were just sort of repetitive of challenges that folks doing my work have faced before.
We were definitely working on this during a time where there was a lot of external factors outside of Providence that influenced sort of the climate that we were working within. And I know that's the case a lot of the time. That isn't categorically unique, but I think we've definitely run into some nationwide politics that have really impacted the way we do our work and impacted the way we feel about our work.
And I imagine this is a huge challenge for hospitals that are affiliated with religious ideologies and religious institutions. Depending on where you're at, the Catholic Archdiocese recently took some very specifically anti-trans positions. Providence was kind of a champ in supporting the work of the PFAC and moving forward. So yeah, there's a lot of work still to do.
Jenn, it's always such a pleasure getting to talk to you and just listen to your wisdom. So thank you for taking some time to connect with me and share your experience.
Bentley, it's been my pleasure. I hope there are opportunities for us to continue to work together in the future. I wish you nothing but love and fulfillment on your personal journey.